All right, well, welcome everyone to another episode of The Unpredictable Pipeline. In this series, we're talking to leading B2B CMOs about what they have been doing in 2020 to react to what has inherently been a fairly unpredictable time. This is based on the idea that we're all working towards a more predictable pipeline in our sales and marketing efforts. 2020 has thrown up a little more headwinds than usual to try to get there. And with us today, the CMO of Acquia, Lynne Capozzi. Lynne, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, hi Matt, glad to be here.
So when we talked beforehand, I think you guys, like a lot of companies, definitely saw, by March of 2020, some impact on the business and impact on marketing. Talk a little bit about what you saw, just general trends in terms of sort of traffic and conversions, and what were some of the things you did to adjust to that?
Yeah, so we did see a change. It was totally unpredictable, I think. I think it falls in well with what we're talking about. So we've had an unbelievable amount, probably like a 22% increase in our website traffic. And so we know that everyone is coming in, everyone is content binging during this time. They have extra time, they're doing more research. So one of the things we saw is that the traffic was high and it increased, but our conversions decreased. Our conversion rate through the funnel decreased. So what we realized was some of those folks that were coming in to get content were window shopping. Some may be looking for a future project, but not something that they have funded at the moment, or maybe it's something research that they're doing for a future time when they would need a product, but not right now. So in order to help the conversion rate, we did a couple of things. We implemented, first of all, literally a term with our BDRs, our business development reps, called window shopping. So it was now a choice that they could choose. This particular, prospect is window shopping right now, which means we still obviously still want to nurture them, still want to keep them in the fold, but I don't want them to be fed up to a BDR. I don't want a BDR talking to them at the moment if they're not, if they don't have an active project going on. So, and one way that we helped to do that was, so we did that for the BDRs. We also are a big user of chat and AI. So we were able to have the drift bot that we have weed out a lot of people. And so that helped us a lot. So it brought the number of conversations that they were having to a level which was actually a really good conversion rate for us. And it saved a lot of time. So I could have BDRs focused on those opportunities that were real opportunities to feed in the pipeline, to get into the hands of sales. And then we did some other things to support all of the content binging. So we made sure that we increased our content, all of our content types through all phases of the funnel. So awareness content, and then research content where people were really researching and wanted a lot more information, and then content that helped through the conversion stage as well. So big emphasis on new content, additional content, more video of all different sizes, and then helping with, I think, providing some additional tools to the BDRs around letting them just be fed the opportunities that we think were real. I think that's helped a lot.
Well, and I love that you had a really sort of proactive strategy around segmenting those different types of leads and inbound demand, right? And it sounds like there was a distinction between those that were not qualified prospects and those that just were not ready now, right? This was not a condition in their business and in their time where, listen, this is interesting. We know we should do it. We're conserving cash. And so that's not an unqualified prospect. That's a not now prospect. Can you talk a little bit about how you then sort of, you talked about creating content, but what does the nurture strategy look like for that window shopping prospect that may very well have cash at hand sometime in later 2020? They may be a ready to buy prospect early 2021, but are there different things you're doing to sort of keep in touch to continue to build credibility and trust with them in the meantime?
Yeah, they definitely go into one of our nurture streams, and we have, so we keep in contact with them. We make sure that we're providing and feeding them different content. One of the things that we find is pretty effective is by providing content that shows things like case studies, ROI examples from other customers, and staying in touch with them and nurturing. So depending on kind of where they're at and what they're looking for, we can, do anywhere between, 12 and 15 more touches with them through a nurture till we figure out more like closely, like exactly where they're at. And then hopefully we're top of mind when they do get to a point where their budgets open up or the project has been, deemed critical at that time.
Awesome. So you talk a little bit about sort of the inbound traffic and how you're sort of managing that flow. Can you talk a little bit about then? You've got, sort of your larger target accounts. I think you guys call your white glove accounts. Sort of what changed with your approach to your ABM program so far as well?
So a couple of changes that we made. We know it's really important that we're looking at, intent to make sure that we know what our customers are doing, and we don't always know all the right contacts at the accounts. And so I think by having an intent engine that we can look in the market, if we have a particular targeted account, are there people within that account that are looking for product information that we may have, that are looking for our technology and similar technologies. So we're doubling down on our ABM efforts to make sure we're targeting those folks and looking for intent. And then we are doing a little bit more around ABM to some of our biggest and largest accounts in support of those customers, because we know we want to show as much support. And I've been saying kind of surround them with that virtual hug right now, these customers that we have. And so we did something I thought was pretty creative. My team did in this summer. So we did some special customized Acquia logo ice cream. And so we sent it to some of the top accounts that we had. And it was, ice cream that says, it's whatever flavors you can pick. And then we put like a label on it. You're appreciated. We thank you. A scoop of thankfulness. So I thought it was cute. It tended to be a big hit for the people that got it.
Oh my God, you combined ABM with ice cream. Two of my favorite things. I love that.
I know.
But you're sending that to people's homes. Was there any sort of trick, or I guess that's a wrong word to use here. Is there any best practice or tactic you used to sort of to get work from home addresses from prospects that obviously have to trust you with a level of intimacy that's a little different?
Yeah, we just reached out. We said we had a special summertime treat that we wanted to provide. Are you comfortable, giving us your address for us to send it? We did pretty well. I really don't know what the typical rate is for someone to tell what their home address is, right? Because I've never had to deal with that before.
Yeah.
So, but we did pretty well in terms of percentages, and for those industries that could take it, some don't accept gifts, of course. But it was pretty good. I had pretty good response. I didn't have any negative, I didn't have anyone say I'm absolutely not doing this, or anything like that. No pushback.
That's good. Look, we're dealing with a lot of new benchmarks right now, and I would imagine that's one that we're sort of inventing as we go. My assumption would be if it's a cold prospect that doesn't know you, they're probably not going to tell you where they live.
Right.
If it's someone you've invested in some trust and relationship, even if they've not spent a dime with you, if they believe that you're credible and sort of someone that they trust, they're more likely to do it. So
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting as we sort of develop benchmarks like that over time. So there's, the things you're doing externally. Talk a little bit about what you've done internally as well. I mean, this is a different environment for our employees and our teams. Has the way that you've managed programs internally changed through this as well?
It was interesting. We had a company meeting this morning, and I was presenting, and I said, we in the marketing department are going through a time of transformation. I almost feel like everything that we're doing is being transformed, from the technologies that we're now using to the communication that we do, to even our digital campaigns and correspondence. I feel is become a little bit more genuine and a little bit more casual, I would say. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
I do think it's become more casual. The conversation has. And so I think people are really looking for, what value are you going to give me? What are you providing for me? Please get rid of the marketing jargon, get rid of all that speak. Don't use the word COVID anymore, please. And just tell me, what's your value? What are you going to do for me? And, doing that in a concise way, and sharing some successes from other people that have gone through it recently, I think is what we're finding is kind of the best way. And that's the internal message that I've been giving to the team, and to have us, be focused around that.
Yeah, I do feel like there's an increased level of sort of grace and empathy, that we're applying both internally and externally in organizations. I think that we're expecting people to show up with some grown-up clothes now on Zoom, and to not feel like it's something they're immediately pivoting into. But, we're working from crazy places. I've got the craft closet behind me. I mean, I think, to assume that, like, we're all human, but, there's a way to pivot and refocus and still accept that, to continue to give each other grace in what continues to be unpredictable times.
Right.
So last question for you then. So we talked about sort of market focus and external audience focus, talked about your team. What are some things that you're doing as a leader in the organization to sort of maintain your balance, to maintain your focus, to maintain your energy through unpredictable times?
I think I do a couple of things with my team. So we started early on in this. When we were first at home, we do a weekly trivia with my marketing team, and that's it's 15 minutes. It's become super competitive. It rotates to a different person every week with the questions. I've never won. I don't think I will ever win. But it's, it is a way to kind of keep it light a little bit and make sure that people are, or it's just a little something extra. I think a lot of people are doing trivia, so I think that helps just in terms of lightening it up some. And I think highlighting to people things that I'm doing and things that we're doing, for instead of doing a commute time, I'm using that as my exercise time. And I'm trying to encourage people to do that, right? And so I think those little things like that, really help. And I think that people are, appreciative of that. And we try to do the best balance as possible. And we realize that we need to be flexible with some people, especially for the ones that have babies and toddlers at home, and they're juggling. It's a challenge. And so whenever I get the sense where I'm on a Zoom with someone or I'm on a call with someone and I know that it's their kids or their, family is tugging in the background and I can hear and sense that, I let them go. I say, I want to talk to you another time because I want you to go deal with that right now. And then we will catch up later. And so in the beginning, people were like, no. I'm like, no, it's okay. Let's do it. Let's develop this culture, and that's fine. So, and I think that works well.
Yeah, no, I think it's so important and it's special to be able to address the humanity behind everything that's going on. And I think that there's a through line there around, with your prospects, with your customers, with your sales counterparts, with your internal teams, and then with yourself as well, to say, listen, and I think, and I fully believe you get more productivity out of people, you get more engagement with your prospects when you give them time to spend away from you, when you give them that grace to do something else. So Lynne Capozzi, CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Acquia, last question for you. And I appreciate you being part of this series and part of this, in these challenging times, what are some other resources that you've leaned on this year? That can be books, authors, peers, that you might recommend other CMOs check out as well.
I think there's been several CMO type roundtables that I've participated in that have been tremendous for me, that have been really great. And I think it's great to hear from, your peers and from other parts of the country as well. And I think it's been really good for me. I've really benefited from that quite a bit because we're in such an untraditional marketing time. It's just nice to hear from other people what they're going through and what's working, and not working. And the recent book that I've read, Predictive Marketing book, was awesome. So that was incredible. I thought that was great. But those are a couple of things that's been helping me. I have been reading a little bit more, and help these CMO roundtables have really helped me quite a bit.
Awesome. Well, I know you're really busy, and I really appreciate your time on this. Lynne Capozzi, Chief Marketing Officer for Acquia. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on the unpredictable pipeline.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.